It started quietly, the way most secrets do, not with a loud confession or a dramatic unveiling, but with a whisper. A hesitation in someone's voice. A glance that lasted 1 second too long. A phone turned upside down on a table. It was in the little things, the habits too subtle to confront yet too consistent to ignore, that the truth began to reveal itself. The world of dating, for all its shiny apps and promises of compatibility, had never really changed. People still hid things. They still played games. The game just wore a different mask now. And the greatest secret, the one no one dared to admit out loud, was that almost everyone had cheated in one way or another, if not physically, then emotionally, digitally, or in the mind. It wasn't always about sleeping with someone else. Sometimes it was liking a photo on social media and lingering over it more than necessary. Sometimes it was sliding into a stranger's inbox just to talk. Sometimes it was the subtle thrill of keeping an option open while pretending to be settled. Cheating had expanded into gray areas so vast and so common that people barely recognized it anymore. Jason knew this better than most. He had been on both sides. He had been cheated on by someone who swore she loved him, only to find out she had kept a backup boyfriend on the side, someone to text late at night when she claimed to be tired, someone to vent to about Jason when she wanted to feel like the innocent victim. And Jason himself had cheated, not by sleeping around, but by keeping his dating profile active, checking his matches even while lying in bed next to his girlfriend. He told himself it wasn't real. He wasn't meeting anyone. It was just curiosity. Just looking. Just cheating in a way that could never be proven. That was the classic cheat. The one no one wanted to name. The secret everyone was hiding behind their carefully curated smiles and promises of loyalty. It wasn't about love, it was about ego. People wanted to feel chosen, even while they were choosing someone else. They wanted to know that if their relationship failed tomorrow, they would not fall alone. Samantha, a friend of Jason's, once told him something that stuck with him forever. Cheating isn't about sex, she said. It's about attention. It's about knowing you still have power. She admitted, in a moment of raw honesty, that she had never slept with another man behind her boyfriend's back, but she had flirted relentlessly online. She had messaged strangers on nights when she felt her boyfriend wasn't giving her enough attention. She liked the validation. She liked knowing she was still wanted. Was it cheating? To her, it wasn't. To him, it was the ultimate betrayal. Everywhere Jason looked, he saw the same story unfolding. At parties, people in long-term relationships would slip away to text someone else. At restaurants, couples would argue about whose number had popped up on the screen. And on dating apps, there were married people pretending to be single, people in relationships claiming they were just looking for friends, and those who swore they were loyal while keeping entire secret lives hidden. It became impossible to tell who was honest and who was just good at lying. The truth was, cheating had become normalized. It wasn't even about crossing the line anymore. It was about redefining the line so that you could stand behind it without guilt. People convinced themselves they weren't cheaters because they hadn't gone all the way, ignoring the emotional connections, the hidden conversations, the fake excuses. Jason realized something harsh one night as he scrolled through his phone in the dark, his girlfriend asleep beside him. The classic cheat wasn't just about deception. It was about survival. People cheated because they were terrified of being left behind. They wanted the thrill of something new without giving up the comfort of something stable. They wanted to feel alive while still being safe. It was ugly, and yet it was everywhere. In friendships, in marriages, in casual flings. Everyone hiding, everyone pretending, everyone guilty of something. And the most dangerous part of all was that no one wanted to admit it. Not out loud. Not even to themselves. That was the secret. The one people dressed up with excuses, coated with denial, and buried beneath promises of love. The secret that kept relationships fragile, hearts guarded, and trust forever incomplete. The secret no one wanted to face was simple. The classic cheat was not rare. It was the rule. Jason remembered the first time he caught someone in the act. It wasn't dramatic. No slamming of doors, no screaming accusations. Just a slip. A glance at a phone screen left unlocked on the kitchen counter. His girlfriend at the time, Rachel, had walked away to take a shower. He hadn't meant to look, but the preview was right there. I miss you too. Can't wait until next time. His hands froze. He read it again. Next time. That was the part that killed him. It meant it wasn't just emotional. It meant something had already happened. Later, when confronted, Rachel did what so many people did. She minimized. It was just a mistake. It didn't mean anything. I was lonely. You weren't giving me enough attention. She twisted it around until Jason almost believed her, until he started wondering if maybe it was his fault. But the truth haunted him. It wasn't about that man or that night. It was about the choice she made to step outside, to betray, and then to hide. And that was what stuck with Jason in every relationship afterward. Not just the betrayal itself, but the ease of it. The way she could kiss him goodnight one day and lie to his face the next. That was when he began to notice the patterns, not just in his life, but in everyone else's. His friend Marcus, married for 6 years, swore up and down he'd never cheat on his wife. Yet, he had a separate Instagram account she didn't know about, filled with late-night conversations with women who thought he was single. He told Jason it was harmless, just something to boost his confidence. He insisted he'd never cross the line. But Jason saw the way Marcus's eyes lit up when his phone buzzed with a message. He knew exactly what it was. The thrill of being desired. The classic cheat at its purest form. Then there was Anna, who Jason once dated casually. She was upfront about everything, or so she claimed. She said she hated liars, couldn't stand cheaters. Yet on the 3rd week of seeing her, Jason discovered she was still just friends with her ex, the same ex she had called toxic. He wasn't stupid. He knew just friends was code for unfinished business. When he asked her why she hadn't told him, she said, "Because you'd overreact. It's not a big deal." Not a big deal. That's how everyone justified it. Over time, Jason stopped asking people directly. He didn't need to. He saw the signs everywhere, the excuses, the half-truths, the late-night scrolling, the nervous glance when a partner walked into the room. No one wanted to admit it, but nearly everyone was guilty. And the world had made it easier than ever. Technology wasn't just a tool for connection. It was a weapon for secrecy. Entire relationships could be carried out through apps that disappeared messages after they were read. Fake names, hidden numbers, passwords disguised as something else. It wasn't that people had stopped caring about loyalty, it was that they had stopped believing it was possible. Jason started to realize the scariest part. The people who weren't cheating were often only one argument, one moment of loneliness, one temptation away from it. No one was immune. Love didn't protect you from it. Marriage didn't protect you from it. The only thing that stood in the way was choice, and choice, as he had seen, was fragile. One night, sitting in a bar, Jason overheard a group of women at the next table laughing. One of them joked about how she still texted her work husband, even though she was engaged. Another admitted she had an old flame saved in her phone under a fake name, just in case. They laughed like it was nothing, like it was normal. And maybe it was. Maybe the secret wasn't even a secret anymore. Maybe people had simply decided not to call it cheating if it didn't fit the old definition. Jason wondered if love itself had changed. If loyalty had become an outdated idea, a word people still used but no longer practiced. What if the classic cheat wasn't just a secret? What if it was the foundation beneath modern dating? The hidden truth holding it all together, fragile and cracking. He sipped his drink and looked around at the crowd. Couples smiled, held hands, leaned into each other. But behind every smile, Jason imagined hidden messages, buried desires, quiet betrayals no one was willing to admit. And the more he thought about it, the more he realized the greatest lie in dating wasn't "I love you." It was "I'm loyal." Jason once tried to convince himself that he was different, that he could stand outside of this cycle. But even he wasn't clean. He remembered the night clearly, lying in bed with Emma, the woman he was dating at the time. She had fallen asleep, her breathing steady, her hand resting softly against his chest. And yet, instead of watching her sleep and feeling grateful, he picked up his phone. He opened an app he had promised to delete. He told himself it was harmless. Just curiosity. just checking who had swiped on him. He had no intention of meeting anyone, no intention of following through. But the thrill that washed over him when he saw his profile light up with new matches, that was real. His heart raced, his chest tightened, and for a fleeting moment, he felt powerful again, desired, alive. He never told Emma about it. He never met anyone from the app. And yet, deep down, he knew it didn't matter. He had cheated in spirit. He had fed the part of himself that wasn't satisfied with her love alone. And when he looked back at it later, what disturbed him most wasn't that he had done it. It was how easy it had been. How natural. That was the part no one admitted. How normal cheating felt. People imagined it would be this dramatic act, a heavy decision, but often it happened in moments so small you could barely call them choices. A reply to a message. A laugh at a flirty comment. A secret you didn't share with your partner. And once it started, it was nearly impossible to stop. Take Marcus, for instance. Jason knew his friend had crossed a line eventually, though Marcus would never confess it. He had started with harmless DMs, playful banter, nothing serious. But over time, one of those women became his daily companion. He talked to her more than he talked to his wife. She knew his frustrations, his insecurities, his dreams. She became his safe space, while his wife became his obligation. By the time Jason found out, Marcus had already convinced himself it wasn't cheating because he hadn't done anything physical. But Jason could see the truth in his friend's eyes. Marcus was more loyal to that stranger behind the screen than to the woman he had vowed to spend his life with. Then there was Anna, the woman who claimed she couldn't stand liars. She called Jason one night, crying. Not because of anything he had done, but because her ex, the one she swore she was just friends with, had started seeing someone new. She was furious, broken, jealous. And Jason sat there, listening, realizing he wasn't her boyfriend at all. He was her placeholder. He was the one she kept around to fill the silence until her ex came back. That was cheating too. Maybe not against Jason's body, but against his heart. Jason began to wonder if anyone truly belonged to anyone. Maybe love was just an illusion people clung to while secretly seeking more. Maybe monogamy itself was the lie, and cheating, the classic cheat in all its quiet forms, was the truth people lived but never spoke. What haunted him most wasn't the betrayals he had suffered, or even the ones he had committed. It was the silence around it all. The way people smiled in public, held hands, exchanged vows, posted pictures with captions about forever, all while hiding someone else in their inbox, their thoughts, their dreams. He realized the classic cheat wasn't a scandal, not anymore. It wasn't rare. It wasn't shocking. It was everywhere. In marriages, in young couples, in people who swore they were different. Everyone was hiding something, and that was the darkest secret of all. It wasn't about if someone cheated. It was about when, how, and whether or not they got caught.